How we doing? How we doing? This is Destination Denver, Colorado, and today, where should I live in Denver, Colorado? We're exploring Denver's best suburbs to the south, starting right now. All right, this is Destination Denver, Colorado. I'm your host, Jimmy Everett, and listen, if you're interested in learning all the ins and outs, pros and cons to moving to or around Denver, Colorado, then this is the channel for you. So that subscribe button and notification icon you see on your screen, make sure you click on that as I'm dropping new videos for you each and every week. And as much as I try to be a little informative here on camera, I'm also a licensed mortgage broker covering the entire state of Colorado and team with some of the city and state's best realtors. So that number and email you see on your screen, know that I am always the person answering your phone calls, answer your texts, answer your emails. There, winning if you need me. Now that we're done with that fun-filled stuff, let's get to what we're here for, and that is, where should I live in Denver, Colorado? Let's explore some of Denver's best southern suburbs. So we're gonna work our way due south from Denver and going down. So the first suburb on our list is Littleton, Colorado. Among the most popular and definitely one of my absolute favorites, Littleton is due south of Denver and it really stretches west. So if you Google Littleton, you're gonna find it's incorporated area that's primarily south of Denver, maybe a little southwest. But Littleton stretches out to areas like Columbine and Ken Carl to the west, going into the Front Range. So there's parts of Littleton in Arapahoe County, Douglas County, and then parts stretching into Jefferson County. And as of the most recent census, Littleton's population sat at 48,000. What I don't know is if that is just the geographical region of that incorporated area of Littleton, which is about 13 square miles. I don't know if it's counting areas farther to the west, Columbine, Beaumar, Ken Carl. See, I already got busted. So Littleton has, a pretty rich history. It was big during the gold rush era, a lot of history to it, and then primarily farmland and slowly but surely begins to become developed. It has long been, at least my entire lifetime, one of the most popular suburbs of Denver for a number of reasons. Location being one of the key ones. You have quick access to Denver, you have quick access to the mountains, you kind of have the best of both worlds, and if you need to get farther south, say down to Castle Rock or even Colorado Springs, you have pretty quick outlets to get down there. Littleton's going to be solid on your educational front. It's part of Littleton Public Schools as well as Douglas County. And as far as recreation and amenities, there is a lot to like about Littleton. You have Hudson Gardens, a great outdoor area, and then you have Main Street, downtown Littleton, one of my absolute favorite places. And if I was going to move away from where I was in Lakewood, that would certainly be one of the areas I'd look at. Downtown Littleton is just this great stretch, again, on Main Street, filled with shops and mom and pop places and boutiques, restaurants, cafes, a little bit of everything. It's definitely one of those places where you can go and spend an entire day hanging out. And of all the places that I've had people move to, downtown Littleton tends to get some of the best responses. People really enjoy their time there. And they also have like their little cultural centers. They've got a town hall for art. They've got their own little museum in Littleton. So just a lot of different amenities for different age groups. And Littleton itself has a pretty diverse economy. It's not a small downtown area by any means for a suburb, at least not by Denver standards. So you're going to see a lot of businesses in and around that downtown Littleton area. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, you have quick access to get up to Denver, to get down to the Denver Tech Center. So anywhere you're working, odds are you're pretty close to it if your business is related to Denver. And what it's worth for this video, I'll tell you in each region, but as of the making of this video, the median home price for a detached home was sitting at $784,000. The median condo sold for $445,000. Rent for a detached home sat at $3,200 for that median price, and for a condo or apartment, it sat at $2,045. Next up on the list is Centennial. Now, unfortunately, Centennial is home to a very popular airport, so it's tough to get a lot of footage of Centennial. There's not a lot of areas of the town, of the city, of the suburb, of one of those things that I could fly my drone in. But Centennial is a very popular area. Again, when we talk about location, you're kind of right in the thick of things. So statistically, Centennial is tied to Denver, Aurora, even parts of Lakewood, I believe. So that could throw it off a bit. To kind of give you an idea, Centennial is considered a little over 29 square miles Littleton is considered 13.7 miles, and Littleton is massive. So Centennial truly gets credit for every inch of that square mile. So as far as its own economic activity, Centennial's super close to downtown Denver, the tech center. It's got its own businesses there, but you just have really easy access. So very popular for people that still need to work in and around the city. So for schools, Centennial is primarily part of Littleton Public Schools and Cherry Creek School. So highly rated in general for Centennial, and Centennial not being that large, kind of one of those areas where that overall school rating seems to be pretty accurate. The folks that I have had move to Centennial really enjoy living there and really enjoy the school systems. And as far as recreation, Centennial has a lot of parks, a lot of playgrounds, really thought out in some of these neighborhoods. So a lot to get out and about and do. Not necessarily something like Littleton where, you have your museum and your town hall and things like that, but plenty of outdoor activities and plenty of things nearby, again, because of how that location of Centennial works. And as I mentioned, Centennial is also home to the Centennial Airport. Flown in there a couple times private, but it wasn't on my plane, so that doesn't really count. But a big economic boost there. And then if we want to talk about housing, again, it's the median price. Again, its accuracy debatable, but as of the making of this video, a detached home in Centennial median home price was $675,000. Condo sat at $465,000. And then as far as rent, you were looking at a detached home with a median price of $2,900 a month, and a condo or apartment median rent price was $1,985. Wrapping a little farther south is one of my absolute favorite suburbs in all of the Denver metro area, and that is Parker, Colorado, a place that has truly grown on me. Again, I'm a west side of town guy, so I don't know if I would move there, but Parker is definitely an area that has grown on me. Located southeast of Denver, it's ones we're going to cover. It is among the farthest away from downtown Denver, but certainly an area if you're looking south of Denver that you're going to want to explore. So Parker is part of Douglas County. A lot of its stats are included in the Denver metro, but used to just be farmland, just open land for as long as you can see. And then as the town started to grow, you start to see a lot of development. Now there are areas of Parker, such as the Pinery, that come up that are actually not Parker. They'll be included, when people are just generally talking about Parker, they might talk about the neighborhood of the Pinery, but the Pinery is its own area. So when you're looking at Parker, there's really a stretch of area that you're going to explore. So population of the town as of 2020 was 55,000. That continues to grow. Square mileage, again, around 22 square miles for what that's worth, but that's not including areas like the Pinery and down, farther south of Parker, where a lot of people who would consider themselves living in Parker live. What do I love about Parker? Well, I mentioned how much I enjoy downtown Littleton. Parker has that as well. They have a great downtown Parker area, not as big as Littleton, but a lot to do there. So you've got great parks, you've got the Cherry Creek Trail, you've got just a lot to do, a lot of mom and pop shops, a lot of restaurants. If you go there on a summer night, kind of early in the evening, you'll hear bands playing at different restaurants. A lot of people moving around, walking around. Dave O'Brien Park right there in downtown. They're home to a lot of festives. They'll do a trunk or treat. They'll have Parker Days. They'll have their own little Oktoberfest. So a lot of things going on in Parker, I would say year round. You definitely get a community sense. And I'll tell you, there is something about being in Parker on a summer day, middle of the afternoon, when adults are out doing their thing, but you have parks filled with kids, and you got the baseball fields covered, soccer. They have a couple equestrian areas. So I remember the first time really spending time in Parker and just seeing all of these things happening, and it just felt like there was something for everybody, whether it was just you and your family, you and friends, age ranges, regardless, you had something to do. And we have to talk about the Parker Arts, Culture, and Event Center, PACE. I always have to spell out the word, but a great event center there in Parker. Again, just a lot of different things to look into and a lot of different things to enjoy. And from an education standpoint, Parker is part of Douglas County School District. Douglas County gets high ratings. Parker in general gets high ratings. I have enough friends and colleagues, clients in Parker. They tend to rave about the school systems. They love it. Parker's really one of those areas, just as being as transparent as I can, I've never had somebody move to Parker that didn't love it. The only time they haven't liked it is maybe a location basis. Parker is, again, southeast of Denver. You might have like a 45-minute drive to Denver. Not brutal, but if there is a complaint about it, it might be that. Otherwise, it's going to be among the best areas that you find. And from a business and economic standpoint, again, you can get to Denver in a reasonable period of time. You can get to the tech center, and it has its own economy. You've got a lot of businesses, especially along Parker Road. It is filled with different companies, a lot of different opportunities. So certainly a little bit for everybody. And because I have to cover it, detached homes, median home price as of making this video was $800,000. Median condo price or attached, I shouldn't say condo, attached dwelling was $489,000. And on the rent side, detached was $3,150, and attached condos were just over $2,000. Okay, so moving back west and kind of a little farther south is Highlands Ranch, and Highlands Ranch is the quintessential and original master plan community of Denver, Colorado. In the mid-90s, Highlands Ranch started to be developed. It's pretty much full now, if you will. There's not a lot of area left in Highlands Ranch for new development or new construction, but Highlands Ranch was really thought out ahead of time, and you didn't tend to see that, certainly at the time, in and around Denver. So you see that they thought through where are the shopping centers and where are the amenities, where are the restaurants going to be for these communities? Where are the rec centers? Highlands Ranch has 4 rec centers at different corners of their community so that you don't have to go very far to your amenities. Now, the con of Highlands Ranch is kind of similar to the con of Parker, and that is its location. You can get over to the tech center in a decent amount of time, Greenwood Village, where there's a lot of businesses, but getting to Denver can be a bit of a pain. Outside of that, Highlands Ranch tends to be one of the most desired locations for people moving to Denver, specifically who are looking for suburb life. It doesn't get much more suburby than Highlands Ranch. And so the population as of the 2020 census sat at a little over 105,500 or so. Education, you're going to be part of Douglas County School District, but I mean, Highlands Ranch takes their schools very seriously. They tend to be highly rated wherever you look. And they're also home to several private schools. There's a STEM school in Highlands Ranch that is very popular. So, when you have a community that was this thought out, they really didn't leave any of those details up in the air. So you're going to tend to find highly rated schools throughout Highlands Ranch. And as far as recreation and activities, as I mentioned, they have rec centers in each of the 4 corners. They have a lot of hikes, a lot of trails. You'll see a lot of walking trails that will lead you from one neighborhood to the other. Again, that was part of the development. In areas of town like Lakewood, where I live, you don't see any of that. That just didn't exist at the time. Developers just didn't think that way. They really did in Highlands Ranch. You're also in Highlands Ranch very close to some very cool hikes. So there's a lot to do, both from what they planned and just from the natural terrain of the area. And there's plenty of businesses located in Highlands Ranch for you. So whether you are traveling to Denver, whether you have that commute or you're there, the economy is pretty strong in Highlands Ranch, and there's a lot of people who just work in that community as well. So the median home price in Highlands Ranch sat at $785,000 as of the making of this video. And for an attached home, you were looking at $525,000. Median rent sat around $3,000, and for a condo or an attached place, you were looking at $2,450. And last on the list is Castle Rock, Colorado. Now, Castle Rock is roughly 45 minutes, depending on traffic, maybe an hour south on I-25 of Denver. So not necessarily a suburb per se. It's kind of its own town. But there was a time where when you left Denver and you drove down to Colorado Springs, Castle Rock was the only thing in between, and it was a quick blip. In more recent years, Castle Rock has really grown and grown. If you are a Highlands Ranch fan, and Highlands Ranch perhaps has you priced out, then there might be opportunity for you to look at Castle Rock. That tends to be something where people look at Highlands Ranch, they might not find what they want, they look down in Castle Rock. So Castle Rock's population sits a little over 73,000 people as of 2020. Again, that continues to grow, and it's home to these big outlets. That is kind of what Castle Rock used to be, and still is to some extent, but it was known for going down there and going to these shopping outlets and seeing all these stores. A lot has evolved from that. Now Castle Rock has a very cool downtown area with a lot of businesses. They've worked on a river walk, so a lot going on there and a lot of amenities. The expansion of Castle Rock, there's a lot of new development, a lot of new housing down there, so a lot of options there. If there is a limitation to Castle Rock, it's the fact that on one side of the highway, I-25, one side of the highway, you run into the mountains pretty quick. So they're kind of tucked in this canyon. So there's only so much development. A lot of it starts going east, not so much as you might see farther south in Colorado Springs to bring that up, but development in Castle Rock can tend to be limited because of the geography of the town. Also, so that I don't forget, one of the cons of Castle Rock, the feedback I get, is especially if you need to drive up to Denver often or down to Colorado Springs, I-25 around that area can really get buttoned up. It's really the primary way people get in and out of Castle Rock. So the fact that you are can be so reliant on I-25 can be difficult. School systems down in Castle Rock, a lot of them will still be part of Douglas County Schools. Overall highly rated, but again, I don't think there's a community in this video that necessarily has a bad one, but again, I would always do my due diligence as far as schools and look at your individual. Castle Rock overall got a pretty high rating on niche.com. And as far as amenities, at Castle Rock, you're loaded there. There's what we call a mini incline, which is a staircase for working out. You know, a lot of outdoor activities, trails, hikes that you can go to. It's easy to get up to some of the ski resorts. So plenty to do in Castle Rock. You have the outlets, you have your restaurants, you have your amenities there, and you're not too far away from Denver if you're looking to do things there. That's another thing I should add about any of these communities we've covered. You're talking 45 minutes to maybe an hour with traffic to get to Denver. So if you're looking to get to the city for an evening or for an event, it's not as though it's the most catastrophic transport you've ever had to make. So the median home price in Castle Rock as of the making of this video, detached sat at $750,000, attached homes sat at $537,000. Rent for a detached sat at $2,975, and for an attached sat a little over $2,100. So overall, some great areas to look at south of Denver. I would add Inglewood to this list. It is, of all the southern areas, the closest to Denver, but to keep you from being here for 45 minutes, I limited my areas to 5. But definitely some great areas to explore, and if you have any questions on those, that is the perfect time to hit me up. My number, my email popping up on the screen. Know that I'm always the person answering those phone calls, answering those texts, answering those emails. This is Destination Denver, Colorado. That was Where Should I Live in Denver, Colorado, exploring those southern suburbs. Until I see you next time, peace.